Hey guys, this is Miss Mills and welcome to Miss Mills Math Time. The whole point of this video is to help you out with IXL AA2. So what that is we're going to take the notes we did on Tuesday where we solved systems by graphing. I know that one was not the best. It showed the steps though to solving systems of equations by graphing and what it means to solve a system. So what it's basically going to make you do is you're going to graph two equations and you're going to find where those lines meet up. You're going to find the ordered pair where they touch, okay? So that is going to be your solution to those equations. So if you have already done this IXL, you can go ahead and turn it in and you can go ahead and skip it because some of y'all have already completed this IXL. Some of y'all have already completed IXL A1, 2. Same thing. If you've already done that and you've already made it to an 80%, go ahead and turn it in and I'll grade it as is. But if y'all have not done it yet, I'm going to go ahead and do some examples for AA2. You have to get it to an 80%. And again, all you're doing is you're going to graph both equations and then you're going to figure out where they meet, the ordered pair where they meet at, and that is going to be your answer. So, guys, if you have not watched the notes video yet or haven't done the notes yet, you need to go ahead and do that first before you do this IXL. All right, let's do this. So, first equation I have here is y is equal to negative x plus 1. So what we're going to do here is we have to graph, or we have to point our y-intercept first, okay? The y-intercept in this particular equation is going to be plus 1. So on the y-axis, I'm going to locate my plus 1. My plus 1 is going to be right here, so that's my first point. And after I do that, then I'm going to graph my slope. In this case, this is what you have. You have a negative x, all right? So remember, when you have a variable by itself, first off, you need to automatically assume there is a 1 in front of that x, because remember, you have to have that 1 there for the x to be there, because 0x doesn't exist, so it has to have a 1 in front of it. Second thing, you need to turn this negative 1 into a fraction. And whenever you have a number by itself, to turn it into a fraction, the only thing you have to do is literally put it over a 1. Okay, so my slope, my rise, is going to be negative 1. My run is going to be a positive 1. All right, so my first step was I plotted my y-intercept. And then my slope is negative 1 over positive 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rise negative 1. So I'm going to go down 1. And then I'm going to run 1. That's my second point. I'm going to do the same thing. And the cool thing about this IXL is it makes the line for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to plot this first, okay? And then you're going to go down 1 and over 1, and it does it for you. It makes the line for you. So you don't have to do all of the dots like I did. I just wanted to show y'all how you would do it if you were like on a piece of paper, but IXL makes it easier for you. I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen. And now I'm going to plot this line right here. So that was my first equation. You got to look down here to make sure that that was the line that that you graphed, okay? So now I'm going to move on to the second equation. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to click this second equation button. So now I'm going to graph it. Same thing. I'm going to graph my y-intercept first. My y-intercept is a positive 3. And then my slope. Guys, I want y'all to remember, when you have an x by itself, I automatically assume there's a 1 in front of it. And to make it into a 1, into a fraction, you're literally going to put it over 1. That's going to go for any number. By itself, you're going to put it over 1 to turn it into a fraction. My rise is now 1. My run is now 1. That's ugly. There we go. So, what I'm going to do is I plotted my first point. I'm going to rise 1, and I'm going to run 1. And there's my second line. IXL made the line for me, so it made it like 100 times easier. So now, the answer to this problem is going to be where these meet up. These meet up right here, as you can see. This is where they meet up. This right here, the ordered pair, is going to be negative 1, because on the x-axis it's at negative 1. On the y-axis it's at 2. So the ordered pair is going to be negative 1, because the x-axis is always first, and then 2. And that's all we're doing here. We are going to we're going to graph both equations. We're going to find where those equations meet up, and that's going to be your answer. Okay? Same thing here. Here's my first equation. I'm going to graph it first. I graph the y-intercept first. In this case, the y-intercept is a -1. So on the y-axis, I'm going to locate my -1, and I'm going to click it. My slope, in this case, is just like the past one. When I have an x by itself, you got to automatically assume there's a 1 in front of it. When you have -1 by itself, to turn into a fraction, you have to put it over 1. So my slope is going to be -1 over 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rise -1. So I'm going to go down 1 because it's a negative. And then I'm going to run 1 time. And IXL made my line for me after that, so I can move on to the next part. So after I've done that, now I'm going to do the same thing for my other line. I'm going to click that button, and I'm going to graph it next. So same thing, I graph the y-intercept first. The y-intercept is a -3. So I'm going to go locate -3 on the y-axis. That is right there, so that's my first point. After I do that, I'm going to rise -7 times, because I'll write that out real quick actually. -7 over 5 is my slope, okay? So I'm going to rise -7 times, so I'm going to go down 7 times, and then I'm going to run 5 times. All right, so from here, I'm going to go rise -7, so I'm going to go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I'm going to run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to click that right there, and now I have both of my lines. And both of these lines meet up right here. That point right there is on the x-axis. It is at -5. On the y-axis, it is at 4. So the ordered pair is -5 and 4. All right, wonderful. Alrighty, so same thing. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to plot my first equation first. My first equation has a y-intercept of +1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find +1 on my y-axis. +1's right here. Great. So now I'm going to use the slope. Guys, again, when you have an x by itself, the slope is going to be 1 over 1. Anytime you see x by itself, it's going to be 1 over 1. Okay? So that means I'm going to rise 1, and I'm going to run 1. That's my first line. Now I'm going to graph the second line. My y-intercept is -6, so on the y-axis, I'm going to go down to -6. And then my slope is -2 over 5. It's right here. So I'm going to rise -2 times, and I'm going to run 5 times. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to rise -2 times, so I'm going to go down 2 times, because when you're rising a negative, you go down. And then I'm going to run 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they meet right here. Right there is on the x-axis, it is at -5. On the y-axis, it's on -4. So the ordered pair is -5, -4. That's the solution. Alright, so now I'm going to clear my screen, and I'm going to see if it gets any harder than that. Oh wait, no, this is a good example actually. Cool, let's do it. So first things first, I'm going to plot this first equation. My y-intercept is +3, so on the y-axis, I'm going to find 3. That's my first point. And then my slope is -7 over 3. My rise is -7. My run is +3. So here I'm going to rise -7, so I'm going to go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to run 3. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3. That is my second point, and there's my line. So now I'm going to make my second line. Guys, remember, when you have y equals a number, that is going to give you a horizontal line. So on this IXL, this is how you do that. First, you're going to plot the -4 on the y-axis, and then you're going to just put a dot next to it, and that should give you that line, okay? So whenever you have y equals a number, you're going to plot on the y-axis the number, and then you're going to plot a point right next to it to make a horizontal line, and then you're done. So in this particular case, these points meet up right here. They meet up at, on the x-axis, they meet at 3, and on the y-axis, they meet at -4. So the ordered pair is going to be, the solution is going to be 3, -4. All right. Oh, this is also a really good example. Cool. All right, guys, remember, when you have a x equals a number, y'all haven't seen this in a long time, so I'm glad this was on here. When you have x equals a number, it's going to be the opposite of y equals a number. What you're going to do is on the x-axis, you're going to locate -3, which is right here, and then x equals a number is a vertical line. So you're going to go above it or below it, and you're going to plot your second point, and you're done. Okay? Now I'm going to plot the other line. So in this case, we have y equals a number, so this is going to be a horizontal line. So first step is on the y-axis, you're going to locate 3, and then you're going to make a horizontal line. And where these two meet at is right here. It's going to be at -3, 3. So you're going to put -3 and 3. Or you can think about it this way. The x value was -3, the y value was 3, so on your ordered pair you would put -3 where x is. Your y would be +3. You can think about it that way too. Alright. Okay, one more point I want to make before I'm done with this video is, let's go ahead and first plot this point right here. So my y-intercept is -1, so on here I'm going to locate my -1 on the y-axis. It's right here. And then my slope is -1/2, so I'm going to rise -1 times. I'm going to run 2 times, so that's that line. Now, on this line right here, as you can see, there is a blank behind this. So when you see a blank behind it, where the y-intercept should be, remember that's a +0. So what that means is the line is going to cross through the origin. The origin is the direct middle of the coordinate plane, so that is going to be my first point. And then the slope is -1/3. So I'm going to rise -1 times, so I'm going to go down 1, and I'm going to run 3. Ooh, no, right here. There we go. So now, these lines meet up at -6, 2. So the ordered pair is going to be -6 and 2. Ta-da! Alright, guys, that's all I'm going to be doing on this video. I just wanted to show you that you're going to be... No, I'm not done with this video. I'm going to show y'all another skill on this video. Cool. That's what I'm going to be doing. I knew this the entire time. Alright, so guys, if you remember from your notes video, not all of your equations are going to be in y equals mx plus b form. Sometimes you have to make them into y equals mx plus b form. So this will be a good example of that. Remember, all you're going to do is you're going to want to isolate the y on one side of the equation. And if you remember from our last chapter, you can move stuff around in your equations and still make the equations true, the same value. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So here are the two equations. I want to get them both into y equals mx plus b form, where b is my y-intercept and m is my slope. Okay? So I want to get y by itself. So first I need to get rid of this x. To get rid of this x, I need to do the opposite of a positive x, which is a negative x. Whatever you do on one side of the balance beam, you have to do it on the other side as well. So I'll bring down this 2y, because these canceled out, they're opposites. And then what I'm going to do, since these are not like terms, I'm going to write them both out. And I'm always going to put the x first if I can, because if you look at y equals mx plus b, the x goes first. So that just saves me time. Okay? Then I still want to get y by itself. So here's the last step. Remember, when you have a number next to a variable without anything in between them, that means multiplication. So to get y by itself, we have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So you're going to divide it by 2. No matter whatever you do on one side of the balance beam, you have to do it to everything. I'm going to make that very clear. Everything on the other side of the equation. Okay? So let's solve it. These canceled out, they're opposites. This is going to turn into negative 1 over 2x, okay, so our slope's going to be negative 1 over 2. And then 8 divided by 2 is going to give me a plus 4. So this is our first equation, okay? Same thing here. I want to get this y by itself. So first step is I need to get rid of this x first. To get rid of a positive x, I need to subtract it. And whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side as well. These cancel out, they're opposites. I'll bring down this negative 2y. I'm going to put my x first. I'm going to put minus 4. Because these are not like terms, I have to write it all out on this side. Then I'm going to divide this by negative 2. Because opposite of negative 2 multiplied by y is divide by negative 2. And then I have to divide negative 2 by everything on the other side of the balance beam as well. These cancel out, they're opposites. Negative 2x or negative 1x over negative 2. Guys, this is going to turn into, since we have a negative in the numerator and the denominator, these are going to cancel out, so it's going to be a positive fraction. We're going to put positive 1/2 x, okay? And then negative 4 divided by negative 2 is going to give me a positive 2. So this will be my second equation. So now we're just going to do the exact same thing, where we would plot this, and find where they meet up at. So first I'm going to plot the first one. The first one had a y-intercept of a positive 4. So on here, I'm going to find positive 4 on the y-axis. And then my slope is negative 1/2. So that means I'm going to rise negative 1, and I'm going to run 2. So I'm going to go down 1 over 2, and that's the first line. The second line, my y-intercept is a 2, and my slope is 1/2. So I'm going to plot this first, and then I'm going to rise 1, and I'm going to run 2. So plot this first was a positive 2, and then I'm going to run or rise 1, and I'm going to run 2. And these meet up at 2, 3. So my ordered pair is going to be 2 and 3. And that's going to be my solution. Guys, if y'all have any questions about this IXL, let me know. You have to get it to an 80%. I know y'all are going to do great on it. I'm happy to help in any way that I can, and I will see y'all later. Bye.